All Indiana Politics is your premier source for Indiana politics, focusing on issues that matter to you.
I still want us to be the best in the Midwest.
We can't afford another lockdown.
Give the citizens of this country the relief they need.
Education in the state of Indiana remains priority number one.
In-depth, nonpartisan coverage.
We don't know exactly where the economy will be in January.
People are worried with good reason.
Exclusive interviews with Indiana's political leaders.
We have the resources here in the state of Indiana to care for those who are in need.
Expert analysis on critical legislation.
We need to reform those laws.
This recovery is going to take some time.
We've got to anticipate that there'll be a budget shortfall.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome to another edition of All Indiana Politics. I'm Phil Sanchez. After teasing a campaign for months, Jennifer McCormick has made it official. She is running for the Democratic nomination for governor of Indiana. She made the announcement in her hometown of Newcastle. Here's what she told her supporters.
Thank you all for being here today. I see a lot of familiar faces, and so it's great to be here. For those of you who do not know me, I am Jennifer McCormick. I am a lifelong fourth-generation Hoosier who grew up on our family farm in Newcastle and has since returned to call that home. I attended school here in Indiana and went on to serve as a teacher. I believe in the power of an education, and I certainly believe in kids. That's what drove me to become a principal, a local superintendent, and eventually our 44th state superintendent of public instruction. I'm also a proud military mom. I am the wife of an educator, Trent, and I am the daughter of a proud Hoosier, Sheldon. For the last several months, I've had the opportunity to travel all across our state. I have done a lot of listening, and I've heard directly from Hoosiers about the challenges that they're facing and what they expect in leadership. In Kosciuszko County, I'm hearing about the fight for public education. In Spencer County, I'm hearing about infrastructure concerns. Bartholomew County, I'm hearing about protecting the healthcare rights and freedoms of all. In Hamilton County, I heard about the desire to return to common sense. Everywhere I visit, no matter where I go, one thing is clear. Hoosiers do not recognize the out-of-touch divisiveness coming out of the State House. They expect a leader who believes in using common sense and bipartisanship to solve problems. They believe in someone who's going to make Indiana the best state that she can be. I love Indiana. I love our potential and I love our successes. I love our common sense and our sense of civility. We need the promise that those values will be reflected and upheld. That is why I'm ready to serve the people of Indiana again and announce that I am running for governor of our great state. I'm running because it's time Hoosiers are put first, protecting our rights and our freedoms. It's time Hoosiers have a voice and a leader who believes in empowering them to make their own decisions. It's time the divisiveness stops and common sense is restored. It's time we have a champion for a high-quality education system, and that system means childcare, universal pre-K, K-12, beyond high school training and education. It's time for accessible and affordable health care and a fight for the freedom for women and families to make our own decisions. It's time for a strong economy from urban, suburban to rural Indiana. That also means we need safe streets. We need safe neighborhoods for every Hoosier. This is the Indiana that we can build, but we have to build it together. We have to restore common sense, stop all the distractions, and put the divisiveness aside. I'm committed to running a campaign that all Hoosiers can be proud of. I'm going to be in all 92 counties. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or Independent, we have to work all together as Hoosiers to bring back common sense solutions to make sure our state is strong. We know what we're up against in the coming months. That is why we're asking Hoosiers to join our team at McCormickforgov.com. Be part of this movement. And it is a movement that will work hard to secure the resources, support, and determination so we can win this race. It will take all of us. So if you're ready for a leader who will be a public servant, not a politician, who will always put the people before politics, who will stand up for kids, for our women, our parents, our military, and our seniors, who understands urban, suburban, and rural Indiana, and who will demand fiscal transparency, accountability, and responsibility, then I'm asking you for your support. I'm asking you for your vote. I have proven to do all these things, and I am once again ready to lead. Thank you for being here, and I'm happy to take a few questions.
You mentioned bringing together Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, and Independents. You switched parties a few years ago. How do you first appeal to longtime Democrats who might be skeptical of voting for someone who just recently joined their party, and then, if you win the nomination, flip that around and try to convince centrist or even conservative voters who might be skeptical of someone who left the party?
I'm not hearing a lot of that. I'm not hearing people getting hung up by the situation of parties. What I'm hearing about from Hoosiers is they are ready for change. They're ready for common sense and bipartisanship. So I'm just not hearing that message.
You mentioned safe streets. What specifically do you want to do to ensure that?
Well, I think for one, we need to listen to those who are in that arena, and we need to make sure they have a voice. I know that the state police has really pushed back against some legislation that in the last few years has gone through, but we need to listen to the experts in safety. Having been a local superintendent, I was in charge of school safety, and that is a big, big, dynamic, complex issue. But we have to rely on partners that will help get us to common sense policies that will help move us forward. And I've heard from a lot of first responders, police, and the list goes on, that we really need to come together to come up with some solutions. It also has to be funded. So there's no secret to, people say it's not all about the money, but the money is incredibly important when you're looking at safety. We can no longer not put that as a priority. Part of that too is the mental health piece of it that we need. You know, we were hopeful this last legislative session. It did not come up to where we wanted it for the budget, but we need a champion at that state house and the governor's office who will push for a lot of different policies and platform items that will push for a safer community for all Hoosiers.
Well, the Indiana Republican Party took a veiled swipe at McCormick's decision to switch parties in 2021. Chair Kyle Hupfer says Democrat Jennifer McCormick has decided to continue her well-known streak of misleading Hoosiers. But they have come to know that's just who she is, someone who will say or do anything to get elected. All right, coming up, the field for mayor of Indianapolis comes into view, what the winners of the primaries told their supporters. Well, the stage is now set for the top mayor's race in the state. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett easily survived the primary challenge in his bid for a third term. He will face Republican Jefferson Shreve in the fall. Here's some of what both men told supporters after they won their primaries.
When we all wake up tomorrow and look toward November, there will be a crystal clear difference between the two competing visions for Indianapolis that are on the ballot this year. One vision wants you to believe that the best way to go forward in Indianapolis is to go back to the good old days. Well, I disagree. That's why I'm proud of a diverse, vibrant, inclusive, welcoming Indianapolis. And you have my commitment that I'll be damned if I'm going to let someone drag us back into the past. One vision wants you to believe that the way to move our city forward is to give divisive, Trump-style partisan politics a corner the inside of the city-county building. Well, I disagree. That's because I'm proud that over the last 8 years, we have brought Republicans and Democrats together to balance budgets, to hire more than 700 new police officers, and to pass a 5-year, $1.1 billion infrastructure budget. One Vision believes that when it comes to putting together a plan to combat the scourge of gun violence in the country and in our community, one of the first calls you have to make is to the NRA. Well, I disagree. That's because I'm proud that our 3-year, $150 million anti-violence initiative is powered by neighborhood leaders, not special interest groups who come into town only to turn around and leave again. And we're working to keep out of the hands of our young people the guns, not put more guns out on the streets.
Through my adult life, Indianapolis was a city on the move. Over the last 7 years, I feel like we've lost our way. We're drifting, and without a unifying vision for what Indianapolis is. There's no decisiveness coming from the 25th floor up the street of the city-county building. Political caution pervades the current administration, and the pace is stolidly slow, in my opinion. We have a leadership deficit, and it's a formula for decline that we see playing out year after year. In a landscape where Indianapolis competes for talent and investment, we're losing to Columbus, Ohio, and Nashville, Tennessee. We want and can and should and will be more and stronger than our peer cities in the Midwest in the Shreve administration. Our sitting mayor, Joe Hogsett, is not a bad guy. I worked with him in his first term when I was on council. He's not a bad person, but he has governed badly. And his leadership has proved inadequate to the challenges facing our city. And now, 8 years on, well, 8 is enough. Our city has benefited from some exceptional mayors since UNIGOV, but only one, Bill Hudnut, earned the right to a third term. Third terms are tough for mayors, and they should be. A mayor's got to run on what he or she has done, not what he or she has said they're going to do again and again. I aim to get some things done. So, we need Democrat voters to join us. And we can do that best by starting tonight by putting labels aside. There's no Democrat or Republican way to fill a pothole. There's no Republican or Democrat urgency to fix, to turn around, to deal with the crime and safety problems that challenge our city.
All right, coming up, one election reaches halftime, another heats up. Indiana's best political team. We'll tackle both. Welcome back to All Indiana Politics as we welcome in two members of Indiana's best political team, Democrat Ariel Brandy and Republican Whitley Yates. Good to see you both. Let's begin with that big announcement for 2024. Jennifer McCormick is officially seeking the Democratic nomination for governor. She's been teasing a gubernatorial run now for months. Ariel, how does McCormick stack up against other potential Democratic candidates and contenders?
Well, I will say I was just at her campaign announcement here in St. Joe County, and we had a great time welcoming Jennifer to South Bend again. This is not the first time she's been here. As we know, she's been traveling the state for a couple of years now, potentially gearing up for her run. So I think she comes into this as a Democrat with strong support. People have known that she's been on the radar for running for governor. She's got a strong message. She's a former educator. She checks off all the boxes for someone that I would want to see be our next governor. So I think she comes out strong, and I'm hoping that it continues to stay that way and we can get behind one candidate as a party and we can move forward with Jennifer being that nominee for us.
Whitley McCormick left the Republican Party back in 2021. Is that a liability for her?
I mean, it's a blessing for the Republican Party. I will definitely say that. And I think that if the Democrats are looking for embattled or discarded, Republicans to be their nominee, then I'm very safe with who we have running for governor and Republicans leading. I think that Hoosiers are not necessarily looking for someone who flip-flops on principles for a political agenda, but more someone who has a dedicated track record of changing the lives of Hoosiers. And I'm not sure that that's what McCormick has. Listening to her with Melton, he's now going to be the mayor of Gary, and she's still scratching for some type of political relevantness. So I hope that there are other Democratic candidates that get into the governor's race, because if this is the best that they've got, we're definitely going to be winning in 2024.
Ariel, I'll let you jump in on this one as well.
I mean, I don't think that that's absolutely correct whatsoever. I got to see the hard work that Jennifer did when she was running exploratory alongside Senator Eddie Melton while he is now going to be the next mayor. She still made good progress. And I think right now, when we're looking at what is happening at the State House, Jennifer has the credentials to be able to fight back against that and to give Hoosiers exactly what they need when it comes to fighting for public education and making sure that healthcare is a top priority. We're not going to get that on the Republican side with the candidate that we have.
And ladies, she is by far the highest profile 2024 Democrat so far. So this one's for both of you. Does this clear the bench for Democrats, at least in terms of gubernatorial candidates? Ariel, we'll start with you.
I haven't heard of anyone else deciding to put their hat in the ring for this race. And so if this is who we are going to get behind, I'm very good with supporting Jennifer and moving forward for the 2024 races. I think that we need to be able to have that unity as a party in order for us to be able to turn our state blue and to be able to get the governorship back.
Whitley?
I mean, I think Hoosiers are going to jump ship the way Eddie Melton left her gubernatorial campaign. I do not believe that she will be the only one, because I think that there will be hardcore Democrats who are not new, that are going to definitely jump into the race.
You want to take that? Okay, good. Let's turn now to the results of the municipal primaries. Republican Jefferson Shreve will face Joe Hogsett for mayor of Indianapolis. Whitley, Shreve himself says running as a Republican in a Democratic city will be tough. What's it going to take for him to win in November?
It's going to take a very clear vision for what Indianapolis will be under his mayoral leadership. But I think that he definitely has the track record of being a businessman, of someone who's also been in public service, where he's going to be able to do that. We have to remember that roughly 2/3 of the people who came out to vote on Tuesday voted against Joe Hogsett. I think he's very vulnerable right now, and we've had 8 years to see what his leadership will do, and he's failed.
Ariel, Republicans are sure to hit Hogsett over crime and potholes. So how does Hogsett counter those attacks?
I mean, we saw that even though, there was some vulnerability there. And I definitely think with seeing that, Democrats on the other side were definitely choosing different candidates this time around, I think it's a wake-up call also, too, for our party to realize that new voices and new ideas are something that people are looking for. And so I'm hoping that going into his next mayorship, Joe Hogsett is taking that into consideration. I do think we still have it, though. I mean, Democrats still came out 60% more than Republicans did, and I think that that's just going to continue to rise as we go into the general.
I have a minute left. I want to get your thoughts on this one, from both of you. In a slightly different vein, voters approved multiple school referenda this cycle. That includes Indianapolis Public Schools request. Your thoughts on that, Ariel and Whitley?
We had something similar like that happen here in South Bend. Whatever we can do to better the educational outcomes for Black and brown students in our state, I'm all for it.
Same here. I voted yes. Yes. Did you hear me?
Okay. We'll leave that there. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you back here next week. And of course, have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take all Indiana politics on the go with you. Download our podcast now. part of the All Indiana Podcast Network and allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
Thank you for joining us for All Indiana Politics. We'll be back here next Sunday morning at 9:30. You can also find our brand new All Indiana Politics podcast. It's part of the All Indiana Podcast Network over at wishtv.com. We'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your weekend.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Watch All Indiana Politics live Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Wish TV and at wishtv.com. Subscribe to this podcast and listen weekly here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.